Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Reviewing Comics with me, your host, Alexander Turbin. Today we're going to be going over another new universe title, Mark Hazzard, Merc, #1. But before we get into that, I'd like to show you some things and go through some announcements. We still have the poll going on for Yummy Fur and Chester Brown and ElfQuest and Wendy Penny, both fantastic artists and both great choices. But go check out the poll and put in your vote. And right now, Wendy Penny is pretty much taking away with it. And I'm a Chester Brown fan. I like him a little bit more than Wendy, but everybody's got great perspectives, and so go check out that poll and check out and vote your conscience. And also, these videos are sponsored by the comic books that I make, just like cartoonist Kayfabe used to say. And this is random access. It's up to number 30, which will be shipping out this month. And this is number 29 that went last month. And you can get these at patreon.com/Alexander Turbin, or you can go to my website, alexanderturbin.com. And you can also message me at alexturbin0441 at Yahoo or alexturbin0441 at Instagram. So there's lots of different ways that you can contact me and get copies if you like. The best one is probably the website, alexanderturbin.com. And this new stuff that I'm doing is an epilogue, or a prologue rather, of the raising of the old gods, where the old gods return in my world. And here's a couple of different stories and stuff that happen before that actually happens. There's anybody that knows my stuff knows that it's a pretty big timeline, and it goes from prehistoric Earth almost to the much distant future as well. So like I said, check these out at alexanderturbin.com, and you can also check out all of the other stuff that I've gotten going, Mutandis, Forlorn, all of the other stuff that I've done in my comic book creating time. So here we are, Mark Hazzard, Merc. We've gone through Justice, DP7, Starbrand. I read all those when they first came out. I did not read Mark Hazzard, Merc. I was really not into it. I knew that it was supposed to be a Punisher because all of these new universe stories and ideas and stuff are really just basically rehashing what they already have. They already have, Starbrand. They already have Cosmic Heroes, Quasar and stuff. DP7, they already have X-Men and New Mutants and stuff. So, but they were trying to integrate some realism into the Marvel universe, which they really kind of did a lot better when the Ultimate Universe happened. But even then, that collapsed, and because I think there's only so many stories that are going that can be out there where people just kind of they want to go back to what they feel is safe, what they feel is comfortable. And I think all of these new ideas, they just funnel right back to the original source material. And then they have to reinvent the Marvel universe and its characters every once in a while to kind of spice things up, that's good. I think that's a good thing. It's an unusual thing for comic books in particular. Comic books and superheroes and stuff like that, because these are yes, they have reinvented Excalibur and King Arthur and all of those other things and Norse gods and stuff like that. They've reinvented that stuff, but not as regularly as comic books. Every like 5 to 10 years they kind of have to shuffle things up to make comic books a little bit more exciting, because you read the same issues over and over again every month, and the stories can become a little bit samey and tropey, and you just start seeing things happening over and over again, and you get a little bored and stuff like that. So they have to spice things up. Also, they have to reinvigorate things for younger readers, because if you're 15, 20, 30, whatever, and then you've already read all this stuff, that's fine. But then you have the 9, 10, 11-year-olds that have never read a comic book. And it's like Jim Shooter said, every comic book is somebody's first comic book. So I never read this. I just read this like an hour or so ago, and to be honest, I didn't hate it. I didn't hate it. I actually enjoyed it pretty much because it's written by Peter David, and the art is by, I will have to double check. The art is by Gray Morrow, lettering by Bill Oakley. Andy Yakus is the coloring. Jim Owsley is the editor, and Jim Shooter is the editor in chief. As we all know, we all love Jim Shooter. Peter David has a lot of stuff that I really liked. I really enjoyed a lot of this Hulk stuff when he was writing the Hulk while Todd McFarlane was doing it. I really enjoyed it. And there's been a few other Peter David things that I've enjoyed. I don't think he's a fantastic writer. I think he's like, if I had to rate him 1 to 10, I would say he's maybe a 7.5. Obviously, sometimes you go up there and you have a story that's an 8 or a 9, and sometimes you have something that really kind of stinks and you're a 5 or a 6 or whatever. But I think he's a middle of the road 7, better than most, but certainly not Alan Moore, certainly not Frank Miller, certainly not Ann Nesenti, certainly not Walt Simonson, or any of those other great writers that I think anyway, Neil Gaiman. But those guys are big. Maybe I'll have to I don't think Joe is into the writing aspect so much of the comics, so maybe I'll have to do the writer polls and stuff on my own and see what people think about who they think is the best writer. So anyway, let's get into Mark Hazzard. Mark Hazzard, Merc. Obviously, they're trying to reinvigorate the Punisher, which is very hard because Punisher is almost exactly like Merc. Only they obviously take the story in a different direction. Story-wise, it's almost a little bit more like Moon Knight, because Moon Knight was a mercenary who turned on his buddies or whatever to do good, and then all that stuff happened. And I'm wondering how this ties in with the other New Universe titles. I don't have any more issues of this. This is the only issue I have, and I don't think I'm going to go buy them anyway. So if anybody has all of these issues or some of these issues, or read them back when they were first came out or whatever, please let me know how Mark Hazzard, what he has to do with the rest of the New Universe titles. Is there any crossovers with DP7 or anything like that? I would really like to know, and maybe I might get those crossovers because I am kind of a sucker for a crossover. So let's start. We'll talk about this. As you know, I don't really. I'll give this a review at the end, and but I'm not gonna, like I usually go through the story and then kind of backtrack and look at the art and look at the story and the writing and stuff. But Peter David, he's a very capable writer, so I'm not gonna nitpick about his writing. The art is pretty good. I don't nitpick Marvel writers. I either give them a good review or a bad review depending on how I feel about them. But overall, I think it's already pretty good. Bad for Business. Again, a title. I got to start titling my own books. I mean, there's the title, Mark for Hazzard, but then there's the interior title, Bad for Business. So it starts off in a city, and it's talking about a kid who's stealing an apple, and he's not like hungry or anything. This is not like him starving for food, so he steals an apple. He's just being a douchebag. And so can I say that on YouTube? I'll have to refrain from saying that, I guess. That's kind of my go-to line. Swear word line kind of thing. But he bumps into this guy. It's obviously Mark Hazzard, and Mark just kind of gives him a funny look, and the kid puts the apple back and runs away. The apple owner, the cart owner, says, "Hey, thanks," and Mark just kind of is like, well, yeah, whatever. And then these two women are looking at him, and they're like oogling him and gaga over him, which he's got like scars all over his face, because they're saying how hunky he is. Maybe it's just because he's a big dude, or women dig chicks dig scars on the faces. I might have to do some research into that. So Mark goes back to his apartment, and it goes into great detail talking about his weaponry that he has on the wall, his different accoutrements of things on the wall, like the places he's been and stuff like that. You know already that he's a mercenary, and he's just kind of getting back to his apartment, waiting for his next job. He turns on the answering machine. This is a trope that we would never do now, even with a cell phone. I don't think people don't you really use their answering machines on cell phones. Maybe once in a while, I guess. Let me know if you guys do, because I know I almost never do, and I think I have it set up. I'm not sure, but he gets a call from his son, begging him to make it to his baseball game for some encouragement. So we already know that. He has a broken marriage. He has a son. He's got an ex-wife. The ex-wife calls. She says that the alimony check bounced, or the whatever, and which is kind of weird because he's a mercenary, so he must be rich, right? You would think mercenaries are rich. And he keeps thinking to himself, this isn't the call I'm waiting for. This isn't the call I'm waiting for. Here's an ex-girlfriend or a girlfriend that he stood up at a date, and she leaves him a nasty message. He says, that's definitely not the one I'm looking for. And then it's a call for their next job or whatever they're going to do. So it's kind of like Micro, I guess, talking to the Punisher. It very harkens back to the Punisher. I'm thinking that if you enjoyed the Punisher, you would probably enjoy this. I do enjoy the Punisher, but I don't know. I have a weird relationship with the Punisher, because there's a lot of stuff that I like about the Punisher, and there's a lot of stuff that I don't love about the Punisher. When the Punisher is mediocre, the writing and the art and stuff, it's just bad. When it's good, it's really awesome. So like Garth Ennis's whole run is fantastic Punisher stuff, fantastic stuff. But before that, it's like from 1 to 20 of his original series, not counting the mini series, which I love because I love Mike Zeck. I love the first 20 issues or whatever. I got them. I kept getting them continually off and on after the Klaus Janson run, because I thought that was really cool. And then there was like Jim Lee and war stuff, war journal, and so it always had like a lot of good artists, and the writing was off and on, like I said, hit or miss. Like the Punisher fighting a motorcycle gang is it is what it is. It's okay, I guess. So it goes to Mark Hazzard. He's in the jungle. There was a brief little thing at the market where the girls were talking about current affairs, and one of them was talking about a bunch of islands in the Pacific that the dictator was doing all kinds of horrible stuff. And I kind of think that that was Imelda Marcos, and I can't remember what his name was. Something Marcos. And I think that's really kind of them tying it into current events and stuff like that. And that is where he is. He's being dropped off by a helicopter, and they're sneaking into the palace. Their mission is to kill the president, and I don't know if it's to kill anybody else, but the mission is to kill the president and or take him to the rebels for whatever. I think the rebels would just kill him. So he sneaks in. It is Imelda Marcos, and I don't know what his name is. If anybody remembers his name, let me know. But they have this kind of banter back and forth. There's you dirty American. And so the president throws a knife at him, and he goes for a gun, but Mark Hazzard isn't having any of it, and he stabs him through the wall. But his daughter, the president's daughter, is in the other room, and she is all scared and everything. So Mark Hazzard and his team, because there's a team of them, and he tells that the president's goons or whatever that he's just killed the president. So instead of like the goons, the military fighting Mark Hazzard, like you killed our loving president or whatever, they started fighting each other, trying to decide who was going to be the next leader. So even though this is kind of a tropey little story, and it's really doesn't have a lot going for it, the fact that Peter David nudges in some humanistic kind of things going on in their life. Like they're all of the soldiers are fighting each other to vie for who's going to be the new president. And I mean, that goes on everywhere. Whenever there's a dictator, and the dictator dies, it's just some other dictator that comes in and takes over. It's never a group of people that want freedom and liberty and stuff like that. For some reason, that stopped a long time ago. Maybe it's the amount of weapons, the types of weapons that they have now, or what. I don't know. Maybe it's I'd like to say it's an American thing where we just want to be free and stuff, but I don't know. I'm not going to get into all that kind of stuff on here. But they're all killing each other and stuff, and they're mobbing each other. So they go back to the compound where the rebel leader is. And one of the things that the president is talking about in the very beginning is he's got this ring from one of the rebels, and he's looking at it. He's like, it's just a trinket, but it's kind of nice. So this new rebel leader, who is going to be the new president, the new leader of the whatever country is supposed to be, Philippines or Thailand or whatever, he's got a ring. I think it's the president's ring, or maybe the ring that the president was looking at. And he's like, oh, this is a nice ring, but it's just a trinket. I'll have to look around to see if there's anything else that's really cool. And so it's really paradoxes and similes, and comparing the president of the dictator or whatever to the rebel leader, and how much they're the same. And there's a whole lot of that stuff going on in this comic, which is kind of cool. It elevates it to from this bad guys. They slip in, they kill the bad guys, and they come out, and everything is good. So the rebel leader is talking about this ring and stuff, and he's like, oh, you did a great job. You did in one night what our whole group couldn't do, our whole Liberation Front couldn't do, and stuff. And then Mark goes to see these couple of guys, and I think he heard a scream, or he heard something. And in the other room, the guards tell him that the daughter of the president that he killed is in the other room, and that they're going to take turns with her. And so basically they're going to rape her and maybe torture her and stuff like that. And Mark Hazzard, he's got a heart. His friends don't like it. His compatriots don't like it all, but he's got a heart. Maybe a little bit more than the Punisher. I don't know. The Punisher, he has a heart, but it's maybe a little bit different. So Mark's like, I'm going to take the girl. Me and my buddy are going to take the girl. You guys can wait your turn later on. So they go into the room. They steal the girl away. The soldiers, they realize what's going on, and the new president, the rebel leader, whatever, is going to be angry. So they sound the alarms, and everybody's out to get Mark Hazzard and the president's daughter, who is in her nighttime dress because she was sleeping while he was killed, her father. She's doing this whole you're an American pig, I hate you, you killed my parents. He's just trying to rescue her, and she doesn't get it through her thick skull. He grabs her, and somebody comes in and kills your parents, and they're like, you have to come with me. You're not going to go with them. He leaves a little landmine or something, and his friend he's got his back, and his whole group, they have his back. They're going to go along with this because if something happens, they're a team, and they're going to go along with whatever kind of weird thing happens. So Mark has the girl, and he's just trying to get her to safety. And the landmine, the makeshift landmine, which is like a gun and bullets and stuff like that, makeshift landmine blows up. So he's like, we got to get out of here. So he and the girl, they're still talking about stuff, and she's still like, you're an American pig. You lie, you cheat, you steal. It's just the American way in you. And he has this flashback to when his parents are alive. I don't know if they're still alive or whatever. But he quit West Point to join the military, and the father was furious, and says that he's going to be wasting his life as a grunt when he could just be a real career military man. So she's really talking about, being raised to lie and cheat and steal and stuff. And he's remembering how he was brought up. And it was a rough childhood for him because the father obviously shows him no respect and stuff like that. So And then it flash forwards to what's going on now. And there's a couple of people involved in his group. The guy Mal, he that went into the palace with him. He's shooting stuff at the soldiers and stuff because they realize they're not going to get paid anymore because the rebels are after them and everybody's after them. So they're just going to try to get out of there alive. There's lots of explosions. There's the Jeep, which I think they were going to try to get out of there with, explodes. And I think Treetop, I think he goes to get the helicopter. Yep, he's the helicopter driver, and he takes off with the helicopter, I believe. It's not really hard to figure out what's going on. It's just kind of a little bit jumbled because it's a big action sequence, and it's done well. It's done well. It's just it's jumbled a little bit, but it's pretty easy to follow. I'm not complaining about it. It's being confusing at all because there's nothing confusing about this because Peter David almost is never confusing. He is very specific in how he writes and stuff like that. He has another flashback with his mom. His dad has died, and on his deathbed, the dad said he wanted him to follow his footsteps. And Mark's like, I'm not going to follow my father's footsteps in the military. I'm going to make my own way. And the mother is just like, get out of my house. I never want to see you again, kind of thing. There's more gunfire going on. Treetop has the helicopter. There's a guy shooting missiles at the helicopter. And Mark, and he's on the radio with Treetop. And they're saying that he can only last so long. Mark is still trying to save the girl, the daughter. But his partners are like, you can't drag her with you. She doesn't want to come. You've got to leave her. We're going to have to leave you if you can't get here. We're taking fire. We're being attacked. We can't just, sit here. We're sitting ducks. You have to get here as fast as you can. And she is just squirming and fighting and stuff. And he really wants to save her. But at the end, he just realizes he can't. He lets her go. She's going to do what she wants. She's yelling at the guards to shoot him at the rebels, which, she's not one of the rebels, whatever. And instead, they gun her down, killing her. And Mark jumps onto the helicopter and they fly away. And his group, they're really angry at him. One of the things that happens in the beginning is that he has this phone call from his son saying he really wants him to see him at the baseball game. And there's stuff like, you never pick up. I've called you 1,000,000 times. You never come to my games. I just want to hear. You don't even have to come. If you just called and wish me luck, I'd really appreciate that. So he's really begging Mark to be a father figure in him. And something stirs in Mark when that happens, I believe, or maybe he just is thinking about it over time because in the beginning he doesn't even feel. It feels like he isn't even fazed by these phone calls from his family and stuff. It feels like he doesn't care and he's just going to do what he does. But he says later on that in the helicopter says this next thing in Libya is I'm going to have to pass on it. I've got something to do this weekend. I got to go see my son's baseball game. And you're like, hey, Mark is starting to grow a heart, even more than with trying to save the president's daughter and stuff. He's also, developing a heart for his son and maybe going to try to reconnect with his son, which would really be great because you want to see him grow and evolve as a character. And that's really one of the biggest things. But the group, the other mercenaries, they're like, this is not cool. You can't ditch Libya on us. We have this thing coming on and we ruined the money that we were going to get from the rebels. Or you ruined the money we were going to get from the rebels. So you can't kind of just do this. And so Mark is like, I'm going to do what I'm going to do. You guys do what you have to do. Just go without me. I don't care. I'm going to go to my son's baseball game. And they just kind of all pile on him. And they're like, you're not doing this right, man. It's not cool to kind of ditch us. So they go back to the United States. Apparently not in their helicopter because I don't think there's ever been a helicopter that has flown across the ocean. There must have been a helicopter that's flown across the ocean, but I'm going to check that out. But then there's a phone call from Mark to the son. And the writing is really nice. One of the great things about Peter David's writing, his dialogue is really spot on. It's not super um, out there. It's like very believable. It's a little bit more toned down. It's not quite as intense as Alan Moore and Neil Gaiman. It's not quite so engaging, but it's really good. It's really good, and I really enjoy it because it's so fluid and it's so matter of factly. But it's spot on. So it's not over the top, but it's good. And the kid gets the phone call. It's Mark. He's all excited. The kid's all excited. Mark says he's going to be there at the softball game, baseball game, whatever, Little League, I think it was. And so he's all excited. And he said he didn't want to let him down. He didn't call earlier because he didn't want to let him down. And then the ex-wife kind of looks at their old family photo, which I don't know why she has an old family photo, because she's lamenting upon the fact that she's got a new husband. She's had a new husband for a couple of years, and she wants the son to kind of bond with the new husband and them to have a good family and stuff like that. And he's just choosing a bad time to start being a good father for his son when, she's trying to have that stuff going on. So she's looking at the picture of them together before. Oh, I think it was a picture that was hidden away. So the new husband couldn't see it. So that's where it ends, where Mark is going to see his son in the baseball game. So I did enjoy it. I do enjoy Peter David's writing. I don't think I've ever had a problem where I said I didn't like his writing. It's pretty good. The art is really good too. The colorist, I think, kind of muddles things up a little bit. I think they're trying to do things like the lighting and stuff like that, but it muddles things up a little bit. And but I do enjoy the art. The narrative art is really good. Like I said, I was never confused at all about any of the storyline. I thought it was really enjoyable, and I knew all of the characters. When the characters spoke, I knew who it was. When it went from panel to panel, I didn't get lost. There's not a lot of different types of panels. He's got a lot of different perspectives. He's got some good close-ups, some good medium shots, some good far-away shots. So he's got a lot of variety. It's none of it is talking heads, and it totally could have been in a lot of these scenes. The jungles look really nice. So the backgrounds, he's got some really thick black backgrounds, very little empty space. Like I said, the coloring is a little bit splotchy. I don't know, splotchy. It's a little bit. It just doesn't complement the art, I don't think. So, like, there's these blue figures, which are cool because it's supposed to be like a. I don't know. It's not like a background thing or anything, or a. He's not remembering it. It's just action going on. So they could have done stuff and not have it been blue. See this flashback in blue. That works perfectly good because it's a flashback. It's a flashback, especially because of the color. So then why would you have this action sequence have these blue things going on too? Although, nope. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm thinking about it. This is a flashback. So disregard everything I said about this blue stuff going on. It's a flashback to him being in Vietnam, which I guess I must have missed that part. So the colors I don't really love. It's a little too, I don't know. I just don't like it. But the rest of the art is good. I think the inking is good. I think the story is good and all of that. So it's a pretty good book. It's just the storyline overall isn't very enticing for me. I'm just not really interested in reading any more Mark Hazzard. Why not just go get the Punisher? You know what I'm saying? Because the Punisher, he may not be a superhero, and Mark Hazzard isn't going to be a superhero either. I don't think he gets superpowers at all. And everybody, let me know if you've read any Mark Hazzard. Let me know if he gets any kind of superpowers or if he's any kind of superhero. Does he dress up in any kind of costume or anything like the Punishers? Because that is the Punisher's key thing. And also the fact that the Punisher has his, the death of his family and his inner turmoil and all of that stuff, which is what kind of Mark Hazzard is kind of missing. He's more like a, just did what he did, as a mercenary, and now he's going to kind of try to, I don't know, be a family man or whatever, or something. But anyway, I did enjoy it. I did like it. There were things that I didn't love, like the coloring, but overall the story was pretty good. I would say I would give it a 6.5. I can't give it a 7 because 7 means I'm going to go out, and if I see more copies, I would get it. Or if I saw, 2, 3, or 4, I would get them. And so 7, if I gave it a 7, I would have to have that mind, that mentality, and I don't. I'm never going to get any more Mark Hazzard unless you guys are like, hey, I'm totally missing out and I should definitely go get some. Then I probably would. But as it stands right now from this issue, I'm not really going to get any more issues. So I'm going to give it a 6.5. The writing probably is probably the most beneficial from it, because it is so concise and fluid and stuff. But you can also tell Peter David's not loving it. He's not having a great time writing this. I don't think he's having a fantastic time. I think they were given it. They gave it to him. They're like, hey, Peter David, you're writing the Hulk. People like your writing. Let's put you on a new universe title and try to get some good writing going on here. And I don't think he was really enjoying doing it. So anyway, thanks for watching. If you're new to the channel, if you haven't never watched this before, I usually go over indie comics, black and white indie comics from the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, whatever. But I also go over, Marvels and DCs that intrigue me or interest me in some sort of thing. New Universe, it was when I was first starting to read comics, so I really, they have a special place in my heart, even Mark Hazzard, Merc. So if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing, hitting the notification bell, and all that stuff. When you watch all of it, I don't know if it really does push the YouTube, algorithm through or whatever. I don't know if it really does that, but yeah, I appreciate it if you do watch the whole thing. I really do. But more than anything else, I really like comments. I really love comments from you guys. Did you read any New Universe when you were younger, or at any time? I don't know how old you were. Did you read Mark Hazzard? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Let me know. Do you like Peter David? Do you not like Peter David? Let me know. I love talking about comic books. I love the dialogue. I love the comments that you guys read, that you guys leave, and I try my hardest to respond to them as much as I can. So thanks for watching, and have a great weekend. Remember to go vote Wendy Penny versus Chester Brown. It's a great poll going up, and we're going to start doubling back on to the winners of the previous polls. So it should be a great time. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you next week or this weekend with a stream from Joe. I don't know. Weekends are kind of busy, but I'll try. And so, as I always say, keep on creating.